From the KDLM studios in Detroit Lakes, it's Hodge Podge with Carol McCarthy, presented by Partnership for Health, and now airing on TV3.
Welcome to Hodge Podge this Monday morning, June 10th, 2019. Today on Hodge Podge, we're going to visit with a member of the Becker County and White Earth Nation Coordinated Community Response to Elder Abuse. And Mike Johnson, Lieutenant Mike Johnson, is in the studio with us this morning from White Earth Police Department. Good morning, Lieutenant.
Good morning.
We're going to learn a little bit more about this response to elder abuse and talk about some of the things that you go over, and also the formation of a group that meets each month. And we'll tell people more about how they may get involved in this issue. But first of all, let's talk a little bit about how this all came to be, this focus on elder abuse.
So about probably a year and a half ago or so, I was the elder abuse investigator with the White Earth Police Department, and I was up until recently being promoted to lieutenant. And what we had was the Becker County White Earth Nation multidisciplinary team, where we brought elder abuse cases to this group, and we talked about cases, our next steps, what we should do with them, and things like that. And that was the county attorney's office, social services, adult protection, law enforcement, things like that. And then part of our multidisciplinary team, we expanded into the coordinated community response team. So, and with our Becker County White Earth Nation Coordinated Community Response, our goal is to educate people about elder abuse and services that are out there. We try to educate people about scams and things like that.
All right. Lieutenant Johnson in the studio with me this morning talking about the Coordinated Community Response to Abuse, the team that's now formed and meets once a month here in the area. So, Lieutenant Johnson, let's talk a little bit about what is considered elder abuse. So what you talked about scams and...
There's so many different facets of elder abuse. We have the actual physical abuse, like domestic assault. The caretakers of the elders can physically abuse them. But we also have the financial exploitation, the psychological abuse, things like that. Anything that's negative to the elder is considered abuse. But then we have our specific state statutes that spell out what abuse is. So, it's the scams and things like that. We have the sweetheart scams. You meet them online, send us your money, that kind of stuff. I personally know people that have been scammed or attempted to be scammed. You have the scams that your grandchild is locked up in jail, and then they call the grandparent or whatever, and don't tell anybody, but I'm in jail. I need X amount of dollars to get bailed out, things like that.
Right. And it seems like, covering the news over the years, the scams have become a little bit more sophisticated. Moving on from the grandparent scam that was really running rampant a couple of years ago, and I mean this year too, but now scams are focused on Social Security or services provided to seniors, getting calls and kind of rattling them a little to the point where they just feel
these scammers are good.
Yeah.
They do research. If I can Google your name and I can find people that are linked to you just by Googling it. And these people will use that information to take advantage of people. And we just want our elders to be aware, and actually everybody to be aware that, and law enforcement, we're not going to call you and tell you we're coming to your house at 3:00 because you have a warrant. That's not going to happen. And the IRS is not going to do that. Just those simple scams. And we just ask people, report it to law enforcement. It doesn't matter where you are. If you're in White Earth, you can call us. If you're in Becker County, you can call them. Lake Park, Audubon, DL, Frazee. Notify law enforcement so that way we can put the word out that, hey, we're seeing these scams in our area.
All right, we're in the studio this morning with Lieutenant Mike Johnson from the White Earth Police Department. He's involved with the Becker County White Earth Nation Coordinated Community Response to Elder Abuse, which holds meetings each month. We're talking more about some of the details of the meetings and all of those involved. But, we were talking off air prior to the show here and talking about the senior population. You have the seniors, the groups that, haven't really had to deal with technology and really have, when like you were saying, how you don't expect a police department to call you and say, you better call us or we're going to come and get you kind of thing. They really do respect authority figures. And then you have the kind of the new seniors coming in, like the 60, 55-year-olds coming in that are a little bit more techno savvy and kind of realize a little bit more that's out there. But I mean, there is a broad spectrum of seniors.
Right. And we see with our seniors is they're trusting. Mm-hmm. And, younger people are less trusting than our older generation. And just one of the things we learned at one of our last meetings, was last week, is that 68.3% of the population in Becker County will be over 55 in the next 5 years. Mm-hmm. That's a pretty good number.
Right.
And I think we're ahead of the game in Becker County and White Earth, that we're jumping on board and we're trying to get the information out before our people become seniors, and things like that. So we have part of our community team. We're represented with banking institutions come to these meetings. Mm-hmm. Mahabi Atwa comes to these meetings, law enforcement, regular citizens come to the meetings, social workers, the crisis center comes. We have a lot of people that come to these meetings and we share information. And at our next meeting, we have a surprise training. We haven't been told what it's going to be yet.
Okay. Well, we're going to stop you right there, and we're going to take a break, Lieutenant Johnson, and we'll be back with more on the community response to elder abuse coming up next. Welcome back to Hodge Podge this Monday morning, June 10th, 2019. Back in the studio with Lieutenant Mike Johnson from White Earth Police Department. We're talking about a coordinated community response to elder abuse. Becker County and White Earth Nation have combined and joined forces here, and along with other agencies in the area, and hold meetings each month that Lieutenant Johnson had started to talk about in the last half of Hodge Podge. So, Mike, let's talk a little bit more about these meetings. And your most recent one was in Frazee, but like you said, they travel through communities in the White Earth and Becker County area.
Correct. So, this is the Becker County White Earth Nation coordinated community response. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to have all our meetings in one location. Right. So we've had meetings in DL. We've had meetings out at Lake Eunice Church out there. Our last one was in Frazee. The next meetings that are coming up, normally the first Thursday of the month, but with the next 2 months, we have 4th of July. So we bumped it back a week, and then we have WeFest. So law enforcement, that's a busy week for us. So we've bumped them back. Our next meeting is July 11th, and it is at the Becker County EOC. Okay. And that's the 3rd floor of the courthouse. And then August 8th, we are having our meeting at the Callaway City Hall. Okay. So that way, we can get people from all over the communities. And then September 5th, we are having our meeting at the Emmanuel Nursing Home. Okay. I believe it's in the Aspen room. Sure. So we're trying to move around the county, and so that way people don't have to commute as far, and it shows that we're the whole community trying to get the word out.
So these meetings run an hour.
Yeah, a little over sometimes. Pam Gregory, our conveyor, she tries to keep them right at an hour for us. Okay.
That's always good. But what like you said, you have speakers come in sometime, and you yourselves learn about some of the topics and some of the agencies and resources.
We learn from the different agencies what they have to offer, and it helps with the elders in the community that I can reach out to these people, and then just putting a face with the name is, I've talked to a lot of people on the phone, but then once you meet them in person, you get to share more info and, find out what services they actually offer.
Mm-hmm. And again, we talked about the whole spectrum of senior citizens, people considered seniors, which I'm not that far off. In the next 5 years, I'll be probably among those stats in Becker County. But having that face-to-face contact, and like you said, is important because a lot of seniors aren't on the internet and don't have those resources at their fingertips, but are more of the kind of face-to-face, feeling more comfortable with the face-to-face interaction.
Right, just making that connection. I attend in White Earth, all over our reservation, we have the White Earth Council of Elders, and I attend those monthly meetings. And just by attending those meetings, they see who I am, and then they get to see me as a person and not just as a officer. And they have no problem calling now because you gain their trust by being with them.
So you are at these meetings typically?
Yes.
The ones you can make?
So the meetings that we go to is Investigator Wen with the Becker County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff Glander, myself, Pam Gregory, Nicole DiConcini, Gina Zur from Becker County Adult Protection. We have entities from White Earth that come down. We have just all kinds of people, the banking institutions, things like that.
Okay, so that's good to know. And so people are invited to show up to these meetings 3 to 4 p.m. Again, coming up in the next few months, it'll be the second Thursday of the month.
Yes.
And it's free. And you're not obligated, once you come, you're not obligated to go to every meeting?
You can come to one meeting, or you can come to all of them. It's up to you, and we learn something different every time. A couple of months ago, we learned about some checks that were getting mailed out to people, and people were trying to cash them, and Investigator Wen, she brought those to our attention, and I think like at our last one, we talked about we're trying to invite more businesses because our businesses are seeing the elders, and our grocers, they know our people. We were made aware of somebody that brought some jewelry in, and they were getting it appraised, and the elder had no idea about it. So just things like that. And we want to invite realtors, anybody that goes into the homes. We use our like the Meals on Wheels. Up in White Earth, we have the elderly nutrition program that deliver. These are the people that actually go in and see these elders, and they help us. They're the first eyes and ears with these people, and they recognize, hey, something's not right here. So then they can contact us, and we can follow up with it. And so that's why we're trying to invite pharmacists, realtors, PCAs, home health nurses, anybody like that, and they can come to the meetings with us.
Right, and not only the elderly, but the children of aging parents too, if you've got the time.
Right, and then that way they can learn about the services for them because their parents are aging. So then, there's these support groups out there, and just like when people get dementia or things like that, they're already in contact with them, and they can help protect their parents.
Right. I'm in the studio this morning with Mike Johnson. He is from the White Earth Police Department. We're talking about the Becker County White Earth Nation Coordinated Community Response to Elder Abuse. And the group meets it's the first Thursday of the month, most of the year from 3 to 4 p.m. But then the coming months, the summer months here, the next 2 months, it'll be the second Thursday of the month, and we'll write little stories and make sure we alert people to these meetings coming up in July and August. Also, July in the Becker County Emergency Office. Emergency Operations Center at the courthouse here in Detroit Lakes, and also in Callaway in August. And again, it's a rotating meeting. And everyone is invited, like Lieutenant Johnson was talking about, people who work with seniors themselves, but just a great opportunity to meet face-to-face with some of these people. And, Lieutenant Johnson, talk a little bit about, if people do experience some sort of abuse or they think something's just not quite right, who would be the first person to contact? Especially sometimes family members, you don't know whether they cross a line
right. Or... there's multiple people you can contact. You can contact either White Earth Human Services. You can contact Becker County Human Services, Adult Protection. You can contact Becker County Sheriff's Office. You can contact the White Earth Police Department. Or you can even, if you live in Lake Park, Audubon, Callaway, you can contact your local police departments there in Callaway. And just getting it out, hey, there's a suspicion here. We'll look into it. That's what our jobs are about. So We want to protect our people, and it's a good way for us to do it.
Well, and it seems like a lot of in the past, the focus was always on the 55 Alive program, and you didn't really have the senior programs. But I mean, just covering the news and seeing a lot of these more and more reports coming in about, people being scammed or elder abuse. This is a great way, like you said, to kind of get ahead of the ball game here.
Right. We want to invite everybody. Mm-hmm. Anybody can come to these meetings, and you're going to learn something.
Well, and I'm sure in rural Minnesota too, I would think it's even a lot more prevalent, just because there are some, a lot more people isolated.
And we do have a lot of people that are isolated. They don't get out of their homes. They might be easier victim, mm-hmm. I would say, and they're more trusting. We're Minnesota nice.
Right, exactly. All right. So if what we've been talking about interests you, the next meeting again is July 11th, and that's the Emergency Operations Center in Becker County at the courthouse, and that will be July 11th. That's a Thursday from 3 to 4 p.m. And again, Lieutenant Johnson is among the members of this team that's been organized, and you can contact him or Pam Gregory or Gina Zur from Becker County Adult Protection, which, maybe people don't even know that we have that available here in our county.
Right. Or you can contact the Lakes Crisis Center.
Okay, right. Or Becker County Sheriff's Office or White Earth Police Department.
Yes.
So they have a contact in many places, and learn more about what you can do to prevent elder abuse. And Lieutenant Johnson, thank you so much for coming in today and talking to us about this.
Thank you for having me.
All right, very good. And we'll hopefully maybe have you in again soon, or members of your team, to come in and talk more about this information. And that's going to wrap up Hodge Podge for this Friday. I'm Carol McCarthy. Thanks for tuning in, KDLM.